How you doing, good people? This is the 8-Bit Animal. And Indiana Jones. As a franchise, as a film franchise, is beloved by a lot of fans, right? As far as the video game adaptations, the console stuff was spotty in the beginning. Actually, I don't think we got a good Indiana Jones console game until the Super Nintendo. Because Raiders of the Lost Ark was ridiculous. You had to use 2 joysticks and it was a lot going on there. Then you had Temple of Doom, which I talked about earlier this year, which was absolutely dreadful. It was a dreadful port of a really weird arcade game. It got republished by Mindscape after Tengen did it already. They didn't change anything, it was still janky, but they did. Then we get to the curious case of Indiana, the third games based on the third film. You got 2 publishers. One releases a game in 1991, 2 years after the release of the film. And then one releases a game in 1993, I want to say, towards the end of the NES life cycle. And while neither one is particularly spectacular, one at least has some good qualities. And it's the one we're going to talk about today, because I'm not about to waste my time trying to put what Ubisoft did into words at all. I refuse. Be mad. Argue with your mom. Today, we're going to take a look at Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the Taito version. Now, this particular Last Crusade game features a lot of bits and pieces from the actual film, right? And so the cutscenes have a lot of artwork that's taken from the actual movie. The music is actually pretty good. The dude that worked on what game is it? That worked on the music for Pictionary actually did the music for this. So that's a win. But the game itself, they tried to do some cool stuff with it, but the controls and particularly the hit detection were kind of rough. That wasn't good. Now, as far as the game itself though, you start out getting a telegram from somebody, and you gotta go get Coronado's cross off a ship. So you're faced with a choice at the very beginning of the game. You either go to Venice first, or you go get Coronado's cross first. You go to the ship to get Coronado's cross. You beat up like 30 dudes on the boat, then beat up the boss, which the hit detection's kind of janky, and you get the cross. Then you go to Venice. There's a sliding puzzle there, and you got a time limit. The time limit is depicted by fire on its way to the chamber where the puzzle is being done. You solve the puzzle in time, you get a picture of the Grail. Because all of this is in search of the Holy Grail, by the way. You gotta rescue a dude off a German tank. You gotta go rescue Indiana Jones' daddy from a castle. Then you finally make it to the temple where the catacombs where the Holy Grail is being held, and you gotta follow a path to spell out the right word. Step on the wrong tile, go through a hole, that's it. And the game should be a lot better, but the controls are so bad. This game was a little bit of QA away from being a solid film adaptation. But it missed the boat in terms of that film adaptation being great because the controls were bad. Controls are absolutely dreadful. The hit detection is so hit or miss on this game that it's kinda comical. Because there's some instances where you can kick somebody twice and knock them out, and sometimes you gotta kick somebody like 15 times to knock them out. And don't even talk about trying to navigate that castle in Germany, because the castle in Germany, what's this path? There is no real way to figure out where you're supposed to go. It's kinda nuts. This game tried though, and I give them credit for trying, because they did a whole lot better than Ubisoft did. That thing is basically a lazy port of the Game Boy game that they released. But I digress. Now, let's say you want to get yourself a copy of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the Taito version. About $40-$45. I thought this game cost a lot more than this. I'm glad it doesn't cost more than this, because it's not a particularly great video game. But, you know, this is where we at with it. If you pay more than $45 for this game, you're getting scammed. Honestly, I would just go get the Super Nintendo game. That's really the only solid Indiana Jones game that we got. No, I'm lying. Young Indiana Jones Chronicles is alright. It's better than this by a long shot. A lot better. So yeah, go get Young Indiana Jones Chronicles if you want to get an NES Indiana Jones game. If not, just go get the Super Nintendo game, the Greatest Adventures joint that JVC did. You'll save yourself a lot of stress by doing that. This has been the 8-Bit Animal, and I'll catch you beautiful people tomorrow. Tomorrow. Wait, nah, is this a shmup? A racing game? Bump and jump? What's really going on here?